good with it? LL Nation. The ONORA boys are in the building. Lucky Lefty podcast brought to you by ONORA Whiskey, ONORAWhiskey.com. That premium American whiskey, ONORAWhiskey.com. And if you drink, by all means, make sure you do so
responsibly. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Got to do it responsibly, folks. CFB Nation, presented by
Twisty.
Hey. That's how we do it. Subscribe, YouTube, the thumbs up, smash it, hit the notification bell, and just enjoy viewing us, man. And then on the audio side, we drop audio edibles every day. Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Hit us up, check us out, lock in, get that automatic download. It's the Lucky Lefty podcast. We spin it different. Left, it's a lot to talk about today. I just had a nice 30-minute conversation with our big bro, Howard Griffith. Connecting this Michigan thing, because, you know, Notre Dame is always at the big table. So most big stories that happen with Notre Dame, that happen in college football, connect to Notre Dame. We're going to tell you why the rest of the Big Ten at this moment is purposely working together to bang on Michigan.
So you're saying this is a conspiracy?
Oh, I purposely called my big brother to check facts, bro. To check facts. Now you read the reports. 11 schools have participated in this investigation, bro.
That's a lot to consider a conspiracy.
Bro, this isn't just, Rutgers and Greg Schiano. This isn't like Michigan State down the road, your rivals. This is literally the bulk of the conference. And remember when we were talking to Howard, I said, I think the rest of the Big Ten is cool with Ohio State being at the top. I don't think they're
cool with it.
I think they accept. No, I think they accept that Ohio State
has out-recruited hard work and hired.
You can go back, dude. You can go back to the John Cooper days. Ohio State is always. It's been Ohio State and Michigan, but Ohio State has been in front of Michigan for a long time, bro. Right since Lloyd Carr left. That championship team was what, 97?
Yeah.
With Chuck Wood?
Yeah.
Ohio State has pretty much been the pinnacle since then. And Michigan has been up and down. Matter of fact, the winning percentage battle between Michigan and Notre Dame was back and forth for years. Who had the highest winning percentage in college football.
That's right.
Michigan wasn't the creme de la creme, right? I'll give you another thing, right? I told you 11 schools have participated. With all the expansion that's going on, I believe there are a lot of schools and presidents in the Big Ten that are ticked off because Michigan is the reason that Notre Dame isn't in the Big Ten, because when Notre Dame was seriously considering it, Michigan said no. We gotta go through the history, bro. It's a lot of presidents that are like, we could have, as expansion is happening, we could literally have Notre Dame. But no, y'all cats want to buck hard because Lou Holtz was kicking y'all butt. And at the time, you know what I'm saying? At the time, Notre Dame was getting the best of y'all. It's a lot of stuff going on right now, man. If we could just make it about Jim Harbaugh, I think it's bigger than that. I really think it's the institution of Michigan. I think it's a lot of other institutions in the Big Ten that are jealous because Michigan is not like Ohio State. Ohio State fans might not like this, but Michigan without football is still viewed as a reputable educational institution, or top notch, shall I say. I would say the value of the Michigan degree is higher than the value of the Ohio State degree.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. 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 Especially in engineering. I don't know where they are in business, but definitely engineering. And if I'm not mistaken, their health and public services school was top notch. I know that because my auntie got her master's from U of M. So I know they're top notch. Matter of fact, the state of Michigan is one of the best states in the nation when it comes to like public health, and has been for a long time. It's just interesting. You know, Howard gave me a lot of little tidbits, you know, that he's like, yeah, the rest of the Big Ten, you know, they're out for Michigan right now. Like it's blood in the water. It's blood in the water, and they're circling. They're circling. They're trying to take Big Ten championships. They're trying to take wins. You're talking about possible probation. You know, there were some people, you know, talking about, you know, should other schools start to raid their recruiting class for the next 2 years? It's, bro, the Big Ten Network had no mention of this on his live studio show. That's when you know it's bad. Because they want to stay as far, dude, they were replaying like James Franklin and Ryan Day press conferences, bro. Still talking about the Penn State-Ohio State game. The biggest story in your conference is what's going on with Michigan. And you, as a network, you want no parts of it, which is very smart, by the way.
Yeah.
From a business standpoint. I'm not saying it was, I'm just saying, you know, just the normal production is, yo, what's the biggest story in the conference? That would be it. But it leads to Notre Dame because the LL question of the day we want to ask, because we have some more stuff. I have some stuff to play for you from Marcus Freeman the day left. Some very interesting stuff about your theory about developing stars the rest of this year through the bowl game. Notre Dame has to develop its stars of the future right now. I thought that was very poignant for you to make that statement. And Marcus Freeman talked about how they use the bye week to give more time to the youngsters in practice. So I want to hear your comments on that and some very interesting things he said about the offense moving forward.
Yeah.
Look at you smiling, Left. Look at you. Now, for you to have a cup like that, it's only one drink that can go in a cup like that, Left.
I know this is supposed to be a Moscow Mule cup,
Right?
But I like the cups, but I don't have any Moscow Mule.
So what does my wife that is her go-to drink.
Really?
Yeah, that's her go-to drink.
Okay.
That's why I immediately recognize the cup. So what does a mule taste like? Have you ever tasted a mule?
Yeah, frozen. I do the frozen ones.
Okay.
And I think I like it for its tartness. It has like a lime taste to it. Kind of refreshing, a little tart. But I definitely get them frozen just because of the frozen factor. Just like how I try to do for a long time, the McDonald's iced frappuccinos were a big thing in the culture. And we used to get the caramel ones and the mocha cookie ones all the time, you know. So same thing, the slushy versions of drinks be make everything taste a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. It's funny because I want to end what I said about the Big Ten Network, because in news, this is one thing that I've learned. Our studios at ESPN Radio were literally right next to the State Street studio for ABC Eyewitness News. Like producers, we worked right next to them, bro, every day. So when stories would break, we would get to hear some of their conversations about, should we save this for 10 o'clock or should we not use this, especially if it has something to do possibly with someone connected to Disney, which is the parent company. And most people choose to jump out in front, right? Which is why, from a production standpoint, I'm sure it was still a conversation amongst the Big Ten Network producers. Like, okay, we don't want to make it seem like we're running from this, because that's not what you want to do. You don't want to make it seem like you're ignoring it. But at the same time, we're not about to lead with it. And we're not about to really put too much out there. What we're going to make it seem like is we're waiting for the conference to finish their investigation before we start commenting. So that's the picture they're giving, So you have to understand it's a lot of, when it comes to news and companies, and as certain people in the chat have talked about protecting the brand, it's really not about ignoring it, because you can't ignore something in this age with social media. You can't ignore it. And you usually want to get out in front, but you want to make sure you have all your ducks in a row if you're going to get out in front, because you don't want to jump out in front, say some things, and then other news breaks, and then you got to go back on some things that you've already said. So my question is Notre Dame too good for its own good?
Too good? Say it again.
Is Notre Dame too good for its own good?
And what's its own good, I guess?
Hey, bro, everyone that I've talked to, the only problem we have is the video. The young man only made $55,000 per year. So how was he buying the tickets on his own?
Wait, say that one more time.
He only made $55,000 a year. So how was he buying all of these tickets on his own? Because they're trying to make him seem like he was this rogue agent. But it's video of him giving signs to the defensive coordinator in last year's Ohio State game. Like, it's too much video evidence. He's not a rogue agent if he's on the field. Like, I don't know how Michigan is trying to sell this. Desmond Howard said that on College Football Live today, bro. I said he has to go on the petty train. What are you how's this kid?
Well, okay, but where's the fine line in just strategic gamesmanship?
This is what I'm saying, right? This is what I'm saying, because I talked to Paul Grassmanis. I talked to coaches that I know from the Lovie Smith Chicago Bears staff. I talked to Howard Griffith. They all say, if you're not trying to cheat, you're not trying to win. Like, as a staff,
yes, I think that's just, it's too much money in sports for them not to think.
Yes.
Somebody's trying.
Somebody's trying to cheat, right? Now, I don't have a problem with stealing signs. All that stuff happens. That's why now on the sidelines, you create these boards. And you made this statement the other day on Friday. What is college football doing? Just put the darn audio things in the helmets. Like, what are we doing at this point? Why do we still have coaches on the sidelines with like 3 big boards trying to fool guys on the upstairs on the other side? Dude, mic it up like the NFL and let's play. Heck, mic it up on the high school level and let's play. Just have audio all the way down to high school. Just format it. So we don't have to worry about this. But when you start putting forth extra effort to videotape practices, you know what it made me think about, Left? Michigan's defense dominates because they advanced scout or have been advanced scouting the way they've been. They couldn't advance scout TCU the same way, and TCU just ran roughshod over their defense. They couldn't advance scout Georgia. Georgia just crushed their defense. That immediately jumped out to me, Left, like, okay. Last night, and I have to apologize, because last night I tweeted, like, I hear all of this stuff, but I don't know if this changes how Michigan physically dominated Ohio State. And then I get video of Connor Stallions next to the DC, and the DC is looking at Connor Stallion as he looks across the field as Ryan Day is giving the, CJ Stroud the signal.
Yeah, it's real obvious.
And then the DC then he signals to his defense. It's like, yo, if you know it's a pass coming, it helps you. I'm sorry, it does. It just does. If you know it's a running play coming, that's a bit of an advantage. And that is where I say, okay, Michigan, you physically manhandled Ohio State, but come on. Like, your defensive coordinator is literally sitting there waiting for this rogue agent, as you all call him, to tell him whether it's a run or pass play after he stares at Ryan Day. It's just one of those things, man. But just in a lot of things, the tradition of Notre Dame is from NIL, heck, the way Notre Dame fans have reacted to this Michigan scandal. They've gone super hard at Michigan. Can I be honest, Left?
Talk to me.
If I found out Marcus Freeman was stealing signs, bro, I wouldn't have no problem. I wouldn't feel ashamed as a Notre Dame fan. Now, going to this extent and breaking the actual NCAA rule, I'm not for that. But staying within the rules and stealing signs, I don't have any problem with that. None.
Right. It should be a common practice.
I really don't know.
Because think about the gamesmanship in that. They said we may not recruit as well as you, Ohio State, but we can win in other ways. And those two or 3 years has changed life for Michigan, just from just changing strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And until the college football is like, okay, we need to get like the professional leagues and put the mic in the helmet, it's impossible to prevent it because it's only going to get more intricate the more you try to shut it out. I'm sure if Alabama tipped somebody or didn't pay the right pockets this season, something would have came out about them cheating. You think, like, realistically, in the probability of things and how tough college football is, you think Nick Saban has been this dominant for so long, just straight up good, hard recruiting and coaching?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on. He's been doing it for 15 years almost.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way in the world he's done it just straight up doing it. And it's okay. I mean, no way Kirby has done it in the short amount of time. Clean and all put together. It's just a matter of everybody is on the same accord. And clearly Michigan, they didn't do the right thing. You know, somebody they called somebody bluff, and somebody said, "Okay, I got something for you."
Your
And that's
brothers,
just what it is.
Your fellow brothers that you share the pie with turn state's evidence on you quick. You got 11 institutions serving up evidence to the NCAA, bro, participating in the investigation. Like your conference brothers are doing this to you. It's obvious that Michigan upset the rest of the conference in multiple ways. And it has to be bigger than just sending somebody to videotape the sideline. To be honest, I don't think Michigan's the only school doing it in the Big Ten left. I'm going to keep it a buck. I think other schools are doing it.
Duh. Because when you look on TV and you see these teams on the sideline with 4 or 5 guys doing fake signs and holding up stuff, that means that the team already knows it's going on. You don't presumptively do that. If you didn't think they was trying to figure out ways that you wouldn't do it. It just never caught on media because everybody understood that's just a part of the game. The thing that's not a part of the game is Marcus Freeman being unprepared for that, not knowing 10 men are on the field. That's something they don't prepare for. That's an unprepared action. That's why Marcus Freeman said after that press conference, "Oh, we're going to practice now situations like that." So these teams don't go into this game all of a sudden faking signals and boards, and they practice that because it happens more times than not. It's been going on since I can remember Kelly and the fast-paced Oregon offense when they did the fake boards and signals and crazy things. That was back then. It is just it's a everybody wants to understand the backstory, right? Everybody wants to understand the backstory of what Michigan did for this to get exposed. Because the cheating thing is a surface level. You know, you can debate back and forth all day on it, but that's not what they really care about. Harbaugh may have told somebody in these meetings he's had with the higher ups, "Hey, I'm thinking about moving on." And they probably like, "Oh, you trying to leave this right now?" "Oh, no. You're not going to leave right now. Not without this story. You think you're going to go to NFL not without this story dropping?" So I think there's some of that. But it is something to be said for Michigan turning the tide as fast as they did, as abruptly as they have, winning the games back-to-back like they have against Ohio State, when Ohio State has been whooping butt about 10 years. So the change in guard happened pretty quick, but I don't blame Michigan. Listen, if you after a while you're gonna get tired of losing. You're gonna get tired of getting embarrassed by your rivals. It's natural. Every year you turn on the quote unquote the game. That's the rivalry. Michigan Ohio State called the game. At the end of the year, every year, you turn off by halftime. Sick of watching it. Braxton Miller done ran for 5 touchdowns. Terrell Pryor done gave y'all the business. JT Barrett done gave y'all the list goes on and on. Jim Harbaugh said, "I'm tired of it. Let me pull in this NFL bag of tricks and see what we got on getting around them rules." So it's something to be said for it. That why now? Because Alabama's still holding on tight. Saban must still be paying them right people with them right pockets. Because even Bill Belichick got caught. But then you look back and be like, man, Bill Belichick be trying to win it by all means.
See, that's what I'm asking Notre Dame fans. It's been 35 years left.
Yeah, it's time to do some things.
if we had won 3 championships, and all of a sudden a scandal came up in 2023. Man, I don't care. I don't, dude. We won. You can talk. Michigan fans are gonna be like, Ohio State fans don't feel better about the last 2 years. They don't. You got smacked. I'm very interested in how it affects the upcoming game in Michigan Stadium. But, Notre Dame fans have a very fragile mindset towards their program. It's a very difficult balancing act as a Notre Dame fan, Left, where our program is pristine. Our program, we do it differently. We graduate our players and play at a high level on the football field. Nobody else, no other scholar athletes have it hard like our scholar athletes. And we still win football games. Like, they hold that. They hold fast to that, Left. Notre Dame fans believe that every player in the program is an angel. It ain't no jerks in the Notre Dame locker room, Left. Every other big time program, they have jerks, conceited players. Not Notre Dame, though. Not Notre Dame. Heaven forbid you point out something about a player in the Notre Dame. Oh, Notre Dame fans, they will have a field day on you, Left. Field day. Have a field day. And that is, as a fan, that's why I'm asking today. Because everybody's looking at Michigan now with that judgmental point of a finger. If you found out Marcus Freeman used advanced scouting to win a national championship, would you be embarrassed? Would you care? I'm just interested, bro. I'm just interested. Because like you said, Bill Belichick, the Patriots, they don't give a darn. They don't care anything about Spygate. They don't care anything about Deflategate. Anything else. It's been proven that they filmed the Rams practices prior to the Super Bowl where they faced the Rams and upset the Rams. The NFL did not take the championship away. So no matter what you think about them, they still won. The Astros have gone to 7 straight LCSs, 2 World Series. Astros players don't care what you say about them getting caught in that scandal. They got 2 rings. They'll take everything. Yeah. Everything negative you have to say about them, they'll take it. Because those 2 rings are staying on their fingers.
That's like what they said. They said if you had, for instance, wire fraud, $17 million, it had to go to jail for 5 years. But if you get out, you still got like, what, $8-9 million left. Was it worth it? It's an interesting question. Would you trade 5 years for $9 million? It's if you doing the crime, trying to do the time. But I think it's it stands back to, in a competitive setting, people are going to try to find the advantage. I think that's just a more overreaching point, which is, in some cases, some people have different live by different morals. That's why this is even a thing, is because it's a moral issue, less about the ethics of the sport, in my opinion, because the sport damn near requires you to find any way of trying to get the advantage just because of how high stakes football has become and how willing some people are willing to go to win. When you got people that are willing to win by any means necessary, You look at your Sabins, your Urban Meyers, this is no longer the football of the 80s and 70s where it was more, tradition based and
honorable.
And I'm not going to try to beat you by a ridiculous amount of points if I'm older, but over time, competition changes that, and we've seen it be more and more aggressively brutal. Oregon just beat a team this year, Portland State, 81-3. I mean, what is that?
Mm-hmm.
And so if I'm Portland State, I will never let that happen again to my program. Hell, Georgia beat TCU unconscious in the national championship.
You know what's amazing, Left? Look at how quickly he's turned things around, everywhere he went. Look how quickly he turned Stanford around.
Who?
Jim Harbaugh.
Oh, yeah. He's taking them tricks from the league.
I happened to look up on a Saturday, and Stanford walked in to the Coliseum and beat USC. I'm like, wait a minute. When is Stanford? And it happened like that, Left. Went to the 49ers. Like that. Goes to Michigan. Like that. He's been doing this, Left. He's been doing this he didn't just start doing, think about it. When he first got to Michigan, he started the satellite joints for recruiting. And they had to tap him for that. Like, hold on, man. You can't be sleeping overnight in recruits' cribs. Throwing Michigan camps in their backyard. No, hold on. He has always been at the cutting edge, bro.
Because that's what it takes to win.
He's going to tell you, make me stop.
Why do you think Michigan?
And that's why, as a Bears fan, I'm like, bring him. If he wants to win,
that's what I'm saying. Why do you think Michigan, through all them years where they should have and could have fired him, all them talks about Michigan administration was never letting him go? Because they knew that he is going to find a way, if you give him enough time, to be on top like they are. Michigan administration knows all about what's going on. Because if you're looking back, you're like, why they give him this extra extension? Why they keeping him when they should definitely fight? He lost to Ohio State 8 times in a row. Y'all still keeping him? They talking about cutting Ryan Day head off if he loses to Michigan a 3rd time. How many times Jim Harbaugh done lost to Ohio State straight? And he ain't never been on because they know he is going to do whatever it takes. And he done found that ticket, and they was like, well, we good. They ready to go. So now, once it's getting figured out, it's not Michigan that's really upset about it. It's the people that don't want to see Michigan win when they finally figured it out, because they know it's like having Dallas Cowboy fans win. It's like having Notre Dame win the podcast right now. I mean, win the national championship this year with the rules. First of all, you'll never hear the end of it. You'll never hear the end of it. And secondly,
see, Left, this is the point. And I'm sorry to ruin this fantasy. Every football program has cheated. Have they been caught?
Hell, Lou Holtz was, they let Lou Holtz go.
Dude, don't even get me started. Right? Lou Holtz wins the national championship. All of a sudden, the scandal about his players going on trips.
Yeah, hold on, wait.
People from the administration and Hawaii and all this and getting plane tickets. Man, stop. Lou Holtz didn't run no pristine program, man. Like people want to keep that fantasy. That's
what I'm saying. Lou Holtz
want to keep that fantasy, bro.
Let go. Yeah, exactly.
You've had conversations with his players. That program wasn't a 100% clean. They just didn't get caught. And that's the thing. Michigan and Jim Harbaugh got caught because they ticked off the rest of the Big Ten. It's not even about the act. Because Michigan is not the only school videotaping stuff in the Big Ten. They're not.
Come on.
They're not.
Come on.
But they have upset
somebody in that.
Some people, right?
They didn't, you know.
They've upset some people in the Big Ten, and the NCAA has been, man.
It's a coordinated effort.
Nipping at the heels of Jim Harbaugh for like 3 straight years, bro. So the moment that the Big Ten could come together, they knew that the NCAA would be, man, oh, absolutely. You got some evidence?
Oh, we've been waiting.
Yo, the man just sat out the first, 3-4 games at the start of this season over an NCAA investigation.
They've been trying to put the hammer to the nail.
They've been trying to put the hammer to Michigan and Jim Harbaugh, bro.
Been doing it.
And the only way the NCAA is able to do it is because the other Big Ten schools
then
join together to snitch and give evidence.
That's it.
That's the only way Michigan got caught. The only way.
Because the boys told.
That's the only way they got caught.
The boys done told. They should. That's the only way it ended up happening like that.
That's the only way they got caught. Period. Like I said, Jim Harbaugh has always been that dude, man. Cutting edge. Like I said, with the satellite camps, as soon as he got to Michigan, the satellite camps, people, that first class he put together with Jabril Peppers and all those dudes, right? What's the other kid? Rashawn Gary. Like, it was questions immediately, like, yo, what is Jim Harbaugh doing? He has always been cutting edge, like, yo, make me stop, catch me. Bill Belichick is the same way, and he's known as the greatest coach in the history of the NFL. We know the Patriots have cheated. Tom Brady is still recognized as the greatest quarterback of all time. I don't see anybody taking his Super Bowls. It's just really amazing as a fan base. Bro, I don't give a darn. I don't give a darn how much of a jerk Michael Jordan is, bro. I got 6 titles. I don't care how much of it. I don't care if he was suspended for gambling. I don't care.
So should they give Reggie Bush's Heisman back?
Who cares? If I were a USC fan, I wouldn't care.
If they did or didn't?
I wouldn't care either way.
Oh.
They still have the championships, don't they? They still have the championships. This is what I'm saying. If you are a fan that believes your program is just 100% clean historically, then you go ahead and believe that.
Yeah, I think Notre Dame definitely, with us just being open for so long and having a football team for so long, I think it took a lot of things that we are probably more unethical to get to where we are as a brand.
You know who used to argue me down that they had a clean program? Penn State fans.
Oh, man.
No, and then the story started breaking.
No, they didn't think they had.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. 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 They used to argue me down. This is back when LeVar Arrington and Courtney Brown was there. Joe Pa runs a clean program. Joe Pa, no one in his program does anything. And I'm sitting here like, I just don't get it.
Yeah, it's too much money that is involved, man, and it's too high stakes. People don't understand how stressful.
The money has changed everything because you talked about it. The competitive edge.
Yeah, it's like it's always that dilemma of something that's really good in your program is also a double-edged sword, and it's causing a lot of issues in your program as well. But you're thinking of the future, and you're like, I can't let go of something so good as a result on the field, but it's destroying the program. That's where it always starts. That's where it starts. It's the Antonio Browns on the team that you like, damn, he's the best receiver in the country, but he getting arrested every week. I can't just fake set an example. I'm gonna lose games. Oh, we just hold off on it, and you start covering up stories, and then you like, you in the Michigan situation. The fan base is distraught. Every rivalry game they getting whooped. 8 years straight, generations straight. Kids grew up their whole life ain't seen Michigan win versus Ohio State. The Michigan program was like, I'm sick of that. We got to make a change, and it ain't fast enough the conventional way.
Yeah,
that's what it be. Marcus Freeman's gonna be put in a position provided he's there long enough. It ain't happening fast enough. Whether we win one early and we're trying to get back to one, or we still trying to get to one. Either way it goes, it's either we ain't getting there fast enough, or it ain't working well enough.
Would Notre Dame fans have a problem if Pete Babaka came in and went full 100% ahead on NIL, and all of a sudden Notre Dame runs off 2 national championships? Or would people get in their pulpits and say, that's not who we are at Notre Dame. We don't pay people to come to our school. This is the, there are people, whether alums, fans in Notre Dame, that hold fast to that. Like, we don't pay players to come to Notre Dame. That's not what we do. And even if they won, they will have a problem with Notre Dame jumping into the NIL space a little bit more aggressively than they would have under Jack Swarbrick. So that's why I asked the question, can you be too good for your own good? Can you be so caught up in your tradition and your stewardship, like you said, that you fall behind? And if you fall too far behind, then what are we talking about?
Yeah, it's just a matter of, I think Marcus Freeman getting sick of where he is and what he's doing to try to get over the hump. And everybody, it's just like saying everybody possesses the ability to kill somebody.
Let me just say this. I'm saying NIL. Look, man.
I have to explain that, by the way. You left me on that crazy end note.
Look, boosters at Notre Dame have taken care of Notre Dame players.
And before.
So stop. Notre Dame has cheated, man. Just get it out there. Every single program in some way, form, or fashion has cheated. It's happened. That's why the fantasy needs to be, just let it go. Just let it go, man. It's hard to compete. It's hard to compete if you're not trying to get an edge.
Yeah, I think it's just the people that don't understand are just the people that haven't been in it. I think that everybody that's been around the system of college football, played in it, coached it, whatever, been a fan of it a long time, you realize that takes place. That's how the whole NIL thing even became a legal thing, is because the illegal version of it was the reason why people were getting upset in the first place. The reason why rules were even created was because of the competitive advantage of what NIL was illegal. The illegal version of NIL is why the competitive advantage in that aspect has gotten out of hand, even when it's been legal.
Let me ask you a question. When you on campus, I'm glad I just thought about this. I would have friends that either worked at the mall or in the union where everybody went to eat was called the Down Under at Illinois. Or the Orange was the other eating spot over in the 6-pack. If I knew one of my friends was working at the Orange at 8, I wouldn't go eat at the Orange at 6, left. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
I went to eat at 8. Why? Because I was getting hooked up. And then I could use the money for that day on my ID to go buy snacks and drinks to take back to my room. I'm cheating the system, left.
That's right.
I'm cheating. I'm cheating. Ask me if I cared, left. As much money as that university was making, ask me if I cared whether or not I got an extra 2 Minute Maid orange pops to take back to my dorm room and a free cheeseburger and fry.
I mean, I don't advocate stealing now.
Dude. No, this is my point. Everybody knows when they're doing wrong. I knew I was doing wrong.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I knew I was doing wrong.
Yeah,
I didn't care.
That's why I don't like the whole sorry thing. It's like, damn,
I didn't care.
Yeah, it's like, listen, sometimes it's about prioritization. You prioritize the satisfaction over the potential consequence. I think that's just an average thought to have, especially when the consequences can't outweigh nothing too serious. It's just like, man, I know that cheeseburger gonna hit.
Dude, that's when you take stuff a little bit too serious, bro. My girl gave me a free cheeseburger. Really? What are we talking about?
Yeah, that's the question that it comes. What are we really talking about?
What are we really talking about? Like, I've told you this story. I grew up playing circuit basketball with Keywan Garris. People from Chicago would know who Keywan is. He's a public school legend in Chicago, played for University of Illinois, right? Keywan will walk around with a pocket full of hundreds and 50s left. He's from the west side of Chicago, left. Do you think I didn't know what was going on? Hold on, wait a minute.
It could be a lot.
One of my best childhood friends left is Simeon Rice. Best childhood friend.
Really? For the Vikings?
Dude, we used to play football in the street. I knew Simeon Rice when he couldn't play football. He was horrible. Damn. Before he went to Mount Carmel, got a weight program, and all of a sudden became a beast. Went to Illinois. Wait a minute. I've dropped Simeon Rice off at the Green Street Currency Exchange. Did you think I didn't know what was going on? It's like, dude, when it comes to college football, man, like we form these fantasies, bro. And it's like, man, at some point, I question whether or not Notre Dame has been so worried about its brand and how it looks, rather than looking forward and seeing how everything was going to evolve and seeing how you can blend that into your tradition, because that's what you haven't done. You've chosen not to evolve with the times.
Yeah.
You've chosen to stick to what happened and what was successful, and is not successful and hasn't been successful for 35 years on the football field. It hasn't. So to me, for several reasons, I can understand somebody saying, people view Notre Dame not being, I disagree, but people view Notre Dame not being in a conference as Notre Dame being too good for their own good. Oh, you think you're better than us, which I think is a bunch of crap. I think it's really all about business, sound business. That's my opinion. But it's an interesting conversation, Left. It really is, because Michigan and Notre Dame, in my opinion, Left, when it comes to the combination of academics and athletics, and I'm not including the Ivy League, we're talking about Power Five. It's a reason why they were viewed as the top two programs for the longest time when it came to both. It was a reason why they were at the top of winning percentage or most wins. There was a reason. You know, Michigan being a public school has a lot more leeway.
I mean, when you're cheating, it's going to be drastic. It's going to be drastic changes.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah,
There's no steady climb when you're cheating. You just get straight to the top.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. You know, look, man, I am as we get ready to transition to Marcus Freeman in this offense, you know, I just thought the conversation would be interesting because, this story is so amazing. I can't believe the whole conference turned on him, bro. I just can't. I could see if it was Michigan State or Ohio State.
I envision this like The Godfather. He went to dinner with the head guy that you don't know the name of for real, and he probably made some demands, and Jim Harbaugh was like, I'm not doing it. He said, you turned against the family, the Big Ten family. Now you're going to pay. I think he was one of them. They probably had dinner at Del Frisco's or something, you know, one of the nice restaurants in the back room, like Equalizer. You know how her buddy came in the restaurant? Denzel had to twist his arm like a pretzel, you know, some smooth Denzel. He said, tell everybody to get out of here.
Right. Bro. So I've watched it. I went to the theater to see it. We could talk about it during transition.
That's right.
We could talk about it in transition. But let's finish this up by saying this. I'm very interested in seeing what Pete Bavacqua does to possibly take Notre Dame into the future. How he works with the administration, how he works with Marcus Freeman, how he works with the alums, being a former player that was under Lou Holtz, how that impacts him. I think the NIL space at Notre Dame will expand under Pete Bavacqua.
Expand under
his leadership. I don't know
administration wise or alumni.
I can't say that because he does not have what other public schools have. He does not have to stick to or still portray a certain brand that everybody, Michigan, those public schools aren't worried about. Michigan, they know they'll recover, right? We know the Fab Five were dirty. We know everything around the Fab Five was dirty. Everything. I don't care how many documentaries they produce. We know the Fab Five was dirty, putting that squad together. But guess what? The culture didn't care.
Nope.
Michigan fans didn't care. They went to 2 straight national championships. They didn't win. The university didn't give any of the revenue they made off of them, and they're still making off of them back. To them, it's all good business. You know, and it's amazing how crimes are able to be committed consistently in this world. You know why? Because it's good business. That's why people can look the other way that are supposed to be stopping crimes. Because somehow, some way, it's good business. Left, you grew up in the inner city. I grew up in the inner city. Nobody in our neighborhood had private planes, had the money to build tunnels, to smuggle stuff into this country when it comes to contraband. We don't have the resources to do that. But somehow, some way, those things end up in our hands and in other people's hands. Somehow, some way. You know what I mean? So Jim Harbaugh, until he made somebody mad, was good for business until he wasn't. And that's the way it usually happens. You're good for business until you're not. And when you're not good for business, they find a way to get rid of you. But, you know, fans are divided in the chat. Some fans that say yes, you know, they would be upset if they found out Notre Dame cheated to win a national championship. And then others are like, yo, I could care less. You know? So,
but upset about what, though?
I mean, I do. I guess some fans just feel like they want to win the right way.
Well, what's the right way when teams that are cheating are winning?
Well, they're not getting caught. So maybe that's the issue.
That's the issue.
Maybe the issue is if we got caught cheating, yes, I would be mad. Dude, can I tell you something like the most gangster thing I heard my mother tell somebody in counseling? She was talking to this young man and she was talking to him about his marriage, right?
Okay.
She asked me to come in and sit in on the counseling because, you know, my mother's really, you know, my mother does not like, she always wanted to cover herself. So either she would have me or my dad sit in on counseling that she had with males.
Oh, in case of,
yeah,
when I act crazy.
Or just for the look of it. Like, she was like, yo, I don't want anything. She was like, I want a witness to what's taking place. She looked this young man, you know, he had done some things against, you know, his other half. And he was sorry about it. And she said, I don't think you should do it because you're not good at it. So if you're not good at it, you should stop because you keep getting caught.
I think that's what it is.
He said it would be a difference if you never got caught and you were good at it. He said, I'm not condoning it, but at least then I'm like, she said, dude, when you're not good at something, just stop doing it.
Just quit.
Why keep getting caught when you know you're not good at it? And I was just like, yo, that's gangster, yo. I'm sitting there listening like, yeah, that is pretty dumb. You know, and I'll give Jim Harbaugh this. When you catch him doing one thing, he leaves that alone and goes to something else.
That's right.
He doesn't get caught doing the same thing over and over again. So as he goes to the NFL, you can put it in the bank. Wherever he goes, he's going to try and cheat.
You think so?
Mm-hmm. He's going to find a way.
He's going to try and cheat?
He's going to try. It's in his blood, bro. That's just who he is. He has to have that competitive edge, man.
Trying
He has to have it. He's going to try and cheat. And honestly, I would start looking towards the Baltimore Ravens, bro, because they share coaches, they share information. I don't know, bro. Lucky Lefty podcast. So, as you heard Malik talk about, there's some beautiful things in this world, man. And one of the most beautiful things that inspired me is I watched The Equalizer 3 in theater. I got inspired to take a trip to the coast, west coast of Italy. And in the works. And just to be blessed to have the opportunity, man, it's crazy, right? And then I told Left, I said, man, you go ahead and watch the movie when you get a chance. And you hit me up yesterday and was like, yo, I watched Equalizer 3.
Yeah.
What did you take from it, bro?
I don't know.
First of all,
the setting threw me off with Denzel this time.
Dude, The Village was the star for me. Like, I was sitting up there like, yeah, I would love to wake up there, bro.
I mean, would you?
Heck yeah. Yeah, you're talking, dude, I did foreign exchange in high school.
Not living there. You
would vacation. Vacation.
Yeah, you would enjoy it for maximum.
No, he was trying to make it like his place to live. I'm not trying to do that.
Yeah, I think what threw me off just was his involvement so deeply with a foreign area. I mean, you a vigilante in a small town, and and you new to the area, so that kind of threw me off from a movie setting place. Like, why you in it? Like, what you doing in Italy? Like, people. So that threw me off. And so I think from there it was just like you heavily involved in helping these people out, like they secret police. It just would hit harder, I think, if he was from there. If he was in, like he was in Equalizer 2, he was at the crib. He was helping a young boy out with his art in the community, and the man wanted to do art, and so it connected more when he was whooping A.
So you don't remember old boy being a passenger in Equalizer 2 when he was considering suicide?
Oh shoot, I gotta see that.
That's you know what I'm saying? Like, he eventually went and found. I don't want to tell the whole story, like, how the money and everything, like everything connected.
It connected. It just is like, damn, like you in. I guess, and then it's also to see. The thing is, it's believable when Denzel does it. But my problem with CBS Late Night is they have Queen Latifah in that same set and whooping all them dudes. And that's when it becomes unrealistic for me, and I don't like the show. But it don't got nothing to do with Queen Latifah. It's just like Denzel pulling off like the move in the first beginning scene. Where he whooped the dude and
Queen Latifah literally did UNITY, dude. I can't watch her.
I can't watch her beating
and believe it. Yeah,
I can't believe it. It's a belief factor.
I would believe MC Light beating up people before Queen Latifah. Like, real talk. Lil Kim, I would believe beating up people before Queen Latifah. Like,
exactly. So the belief factor, I think, is what throws me off about the TV version of the show. But from a movie perspective, I love to see Denzel. My favorite part is when he be like, "You got 9 seconds to figure out what you want to do."
We're not trying to give away the movie, but when he hit that stopwatch,
when he hit that watch, it's something to be seen. You better watch out. You better listen to that, man. So I love the watch scenes. Those are my favorite in every movie.
My favorite part was the restaurant.
Yeah. Bossed up on dude.
When he bossed up on dude.
Yeah, like, that's right.
That's level 2.
That hit the man with this nerve. This nerve does this.
This level 3. If I go to level 4, you're gonna defecate on yourself.
Yeah, everybody's gonna be embarrassed. Now you don't want to do that. I already got you hemmed up on the wall, everybody looking, but that's not gonna be the embarrassing part.
You know what else they did to kind of like because in the first two, it was like parts of him that really wasn't. It didn't feel human.
Yeah,
But
some of them.
man, when Shorty came out and was like, "Yo, I'm gonna take you to check out the food. Make sure you wear that hat." I'm like,
That's right.
"Oh shoot!" And she was like, "Who cooks for you?" I was like, "Oh shoot!
Yeah, that's right. They
Oh
had a
shoot!"
different because he can't be too John Wick because
Right,
he wouldn't be believable.
right,
You know, the brother always got to have a little something. You know, all his movies, he had a little something going on.
right.
John Wick was like, okay, he's stone cold. He had his dog. Okay, you can believe that. This dude, Equalizer, he got to have him something because he older. You know, if you older as a man, you like, all right, let me wind down with something, you know. So he got to have something on the side. But listen, I like the fact that they play into his game.
Shorty put it out there like,
right,
hey,
that's right.
you know what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
And
Look, he
Robert
got
McCall,
the vacation spot.
he caught it though.
He definitely caught it.
At first I thought he was gonna try to, still play it cool, but he caught it like.
The only problem I just don't like though is I wish they had the setups better. You know, when the final scene, you know, when he going into the spot, but he already up on dudes. Just how'd you get there? You know, you just drop in and you just cooking dudes off the. So maybe a lead up story to it would be a little better. But he just in the action too fast. Dudes be too unaware. So
Dude, I told my wife, I said that might be one of the coldest lines ever. Your boy pulled up, was about to take care of him. You know how it happened. You talking about that last scene or the scene before that. And dude told him, this ain't over. I'll be back. That dude looked at him and said, I'll be here. Hurry up.
Yeah, he said, hurry up. Yeah, he said, hurry up.
I said, wait a minute. I've heard I'll be here. But when you tell the dude, hurry up, like, okay.
He said, I ain't going nowhere. I'm right here.
I'm here. That sounds like some stuff an offensive lineman is supposed to say to a defensive line.
And he was answering the dude quick. He wouldn't even let dude finish it. He said, I'm about to be back. Oh, be back. Come on. Hurry up. What you mean? Denzel was on time in that time. It reminded me of Training Day, like threw me all the way back to Training Day. And that dialogue in the center with all the people around. It had that moment of it. But I think at the end of the day, when you speak about Notre Dame and how Marcus Freeman should be on his equalizer. You know, I think he's supplanting himself just like Denzel does in a community of stress. Notre Dame is a community of stress. Marcus Freeman go in there and make good with the people. You know he's gonna make good with the people. And then you take care of business. You take out the things that have been holding the place down. And I do think that's where Marcus Freeman can come in, but he has to be more aggressive. I think a lot of situations that have happened, they have taken advantage of him because he's young. I don't think you can get away with hiring an offensive head coach with a guy that's 5 or 6 years in the game. I don't know how you do that. With Marcus Freeman, I think he's on year 3, and he's like, yeah, it's time to take hold of this, because I think a lot of where we've lacked in the program is because he hasn't taken hold of those spots. He's probably looked at it as, oh, it'll take care of itself. But as he's realizes that he has to take care of everything, or at least have a hand on each situation, and that the ones that he deems is going to take care of himself, they usually don't come to fruition. Just can't trust it. I don't know why you would.
Yeah.
You know, because at the end of the day, I think there's more things working against him than for him.
I'm glad you made that connection. You know, once again, this is why I love our conversations and how we talk Notre Dame in different ways and based upon certain things that happen, because Marcus Freeman is somewhat of a stranger. He's an Ohio State grad. Um, he did a lot of things to ingratiate himself to the Notre Dame culture, transferring over to the Catholic faith is an example of that. And in that youth, I think he's learning how to be a head coach. He was already a great recruiter. But most of all, I think he's learning how to be a winner at Notre Dame. Being a winner at Ohio State is totally different than being a winner at Notre Dame.
Yes.
Totally different. Totally different. What Ryan Day is tasked with is totally different than what Marcus Freeman is tasked with on a daily basis.
That's right.
And that learning curve isn't exactly
favorable to somebody that's trying to start out. I think Marcus Freeman is going through a different perspective of starting out as a head coach, because you know most head coaches start at smaller schools that especially aren't on the radar or under as much spotlight or demand to be good year one. You look at a Lance Taylor, not Lance Taylor, Mike Elko, some of these other guys that are just starting out at these other programs, they know that's not their landing spot. Jeff Brom knows Louisville isn't the resting place of where Jeff Brom is going to be in his career. It's a starting spot as a head coach, even Purdue. So most of these guys that are starting out get these unexpectation jobs where they can develop an identity for themselves before they move to a bigger program. Well, Marcus Freeman is in a rare position where he has to identify himself and build an identity at a place where things need to be ready to roll.
Yeah.
It's interesting, it goes back to Notre Dame hiring a guy, demanding him to win, but he's a first-year guy. It's like I can see the setup from a mile away.
Mm-hmm.
You have these Brian Kelly 10-year, 40-year coaching expectations on a guy who's never been in the position of a head coach before. Mm-hmm. And then you tell him, well, if you don't get it done, that's our expectations. Well, you knew that he wasn't a head coach before you hired him.
Brian Kelly was an experienced head coach that had developed 2 programs and won championships on another level.
I mean, really built his way up.
And still, in his first 2 seasons, from a record standpoint, very similar to Marcus Freeman.
Because it's not easy.
It's a different beast.
Even with experience, it's not easy because of
different beast
that you have to be updated with culturally. And as a coach, you have to really be locked into who you are as a coach. Like you look at Lincoln Riley, I think he is who he is. He's probably a hell of an offensive coordinator. But if you want to win a championship, head coach is probably not his forte, just because he has a common denominator that defeats his teams every time.
This is just to give you this stat, Left, and then you can continue. But I just want to give you this stat. It supports where you're headed. Would you agree that USC is a different beast than Oklahoma?
Absolutely.
Totally different beast. Do you realize that Lincoln Riley is 17-5 in his first 22 games?
Just like Clay Helton.
Just like Clay Helton. They got the same record through their first 22 games. And Clay Helton is viewed as a horrible head coach in USC history.
Lincoln Riley's been doing a great job of pumping and dumping. Gets into the stock low, pumps it to his medium height, jumps out before it gets to his climax, collects his money, moves on.
Mm-hmm.
Pump and dump. He's not going to be at USC for too long, especially if it gets too hot. It got too hot at Oklahoma, especially the embarrassing loss to Alabama with Kyler Murray, where it didn't even look like they should be on the same field.
Mm-hmm.
Lincoln Riley knew right there that was the most he was going to get out of that program, because he wasn't changing who he is. And, it's interesting to see him continually recruit these quarterbacks on teams that only get so far. I think Notre Dame is attractive because who knows where you could take it with greater talent. We've never put great talent in the seat yet. That's what's so attractive about Notre Dame. We haven't put top tier talent in the seat.
And I put it like this, because I got Doma Wop is comparing. I don't know if he's comparing. I'm just going by what he put in the chat. Marcus Freeman to Bob Davie and Charlie Weiss, who also were never head coaches. Charlie Weiss was a Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator coming from the NFL that was given carte blanche by Notre Dame. Bob Davie, this is my opinion. Bob Davie is a snitch. Bob Davie, in my opinion, worked with the administration to get Lou Holtz out of Notre Dame. He's a snitch. That's just my opinion. Bob Davie was going back to the administration, snitching on Lou Holtz and snitching on a lot of things. That's how he ended up with that job. Because he definitely didn't deserve it. So because he got the job that way, he was in a better position.
That's some tea right there, Shaun.
So you can't compare the positions they had with the administration to Marcus Freeman being interviewed with Tommy Rees already being hired. And yeah, Tommy Rees having Tommy Rees having veto power over Marcus Freeman's first coaching staff. So that you can't compare. And Marcus Freeman was not about to turn down that opportunity. Now we can go into the reasons why Marcus Freeman was not about to turn down the opportunity to be a head coach at Notre Dame, regardless of what the parameters were. He wasn't. The opportunity was too big.
The money wasn't.
The money wasn't, but the opportunity too big. Marcus Freeman didn't have the career leverage to be able to tell Notre Dame, I'm not taking the job unless this or that.
I mean, you don't know. You don't know. He never. I bet he never asked.
He ain't had that leverage, bro.
I bet he knew.
Marcus Freeman knew he didn't have.
He should have. Marcus Freeman should have rolled his leverage with the fact that the fan base was going to crucify Jack.
What was
and
the leverage?
He knows that Jack wants to look good for the fan base on his way out.
Half the fan base wanted Luke Fickell.
Luke Fickell.
Absolutely.
Come on.
Absolutely.
Man. Come on. Not
absolutely.
Fickell.
I'm on these message boards every day. I'm on these message boards every day.
Have we checked on Fickell in Wisconsin, or they went blacked out? They went blacked out media.
Most of these people
ain't in press conferences no more.
Most of these people, you could talk about what the buzz was. There are a lot of people connected to the program that were not as happy with the hire. Forget what the players wanted. All of that.
But naturally, I'm
just putting it out
natural. There. It's natural that people had their reserves for Marcus Freeman, but at the end of the day, how do you hire the right guy anyway? I think if you're looking at the circumstance Notre Dame was in, the right guy was the one that was going to keep momentum, and for the momentum that was needed to be kept, because we all felt like we was right there. Right. Marcus Freeman was the best choice. Right. With no momentum, we had a season like we did last year, or even 2016. I don't think Marcus Freeman is in the room.
Yeah,
for a conversation, because that was a true rebuild year. So I think for Marcus Freeman in this position where he holds the leverage is at this point, he can be like, well, I'm looking at $100 million from Michigan State.
Hey,
and somebody needs to come correct,
bro. It's not.
I would say that
it's not just Michigan State.
Go get your money.
It's not just. Wait a minute. It might very well be a carousel in the Big Ten. The Michigan job might be open. The Wisconsin job might be open.
I think Marcus Freeman would do well at a
The
public school.
Michigan State job might be open. You just do. You never.
If Mel Tucker
know.
can do well at a public school, Marcus Freeman will blow it out the water. If Mel Tucker can go into Michigan State in 1 year or 2 years, do all of that, just imagine what Marcus Freeman would do with a school with no restrictions.
If Marcus Freeman had carte blanche in the transfer portal, I agree. I agree with that assessment.
Marcus Freeman would go crazy.
I agree with that assessment.
And for Notre Dame to know that and not get with it is why I say we choose not to win national championships. We choose, and it's a choice.
We can't say that Notre Dame isn't getting with it, right? We don't know, why Father Jenkins and Jack Swarbrick, other than what they said publicly, we don't know why they're stepping away. They could be stepping away to give Notre Dame a better chance of making the necessary changes. They could have had conversations with Marcus Freeman, and found Pete Bavacqua, somebody that could really work with Marcus Freeman, that played in the football program under Lou Holtz, that can relate. I mean, we have to wait and see over the next 2 years. But I agree with you. If I'm Michigan State, I'm definitely throwing the bag at Marcus Freeman. I'm calling Magic Johnson like, yo, send some of that Commanders money. Send some of that NFL money. Some of that Dodgers money. Let's make this happen. It's something else. And speaking of that great coach, Left, he spoke to the media and he was asked, yo, what is a Narduzzi team? What do you expect?
I think of physical. I think of aggressive, especially his defense is something I've studied for years, going back to my time in Cincinnati, and even his time at Michigan State when he was defensive coordinator. I remember studying him. I think I was at Purdue at the time, but they're really sound. They always have good corners. They're able to play man-to-man with their corners and load the box and say, okay, try to run the ball. And we have to be able to do that. We can't just become a pass-first team. We have to find ways to run the ball versus a loaded box that, you're going to see, and they're going to run pressures. They're those hot pressures that you see over and over. And so we have to be good up front, but I also believe we have to be good with our play-action shots. We got to take some chances downfield and make some plays. And so it will be a game of physicality, right? And that's when I think the challenge for our group is we have to exceed their physicality.
Now, Left, I will say this, and I'll let you ride out. It will be a game of physicality, especially from a mental stage. But Pitt cannot hold up against Notre Dame physically. They're going to play hard, super hard, super hard. But if Notre Dame is clean, Pitt cannot hold up in the trenches.
Well, I don't know if Marcus Freeman is approaching it with the right mindset, considering that he's trying to put, a nail against titanium in terms of, when you're facing a defense, you're supposed to take what the defense gives you, not if the defense is good at something, you go against it 100%. So, if you know the strategy in which they're trying to play with, wouldn't you scheme around it to be able to, take advantage of what they're doing, maybe do the opposite or try to find gamesmanship in being more clever than trying to be more physically brute? Obviously, I think we'll win if we're just straight up running the, nosedives into the A and B gap all day. But I think what we're trying to prove as a progressive team is that we have great coaching to where we're still game planning week to week. We're not sitting on the fact that we're a more talented team, which is going to bully you. we're going to, develop our coaching ability, because it'll be great for when we go against teams we can't bully, that we'll be able to find the right game plan to still take advantage of what they're giving us. So, it's easy to just say, yeah, we'll just do what they're expecting us to do. They just can't do anything about it. But I think we've proven that as a team, because we haven't proven it against teams that are better than us or equal talented like us to do that same thing. Because at the end of the day, yeah, we may have shown it against Ohio State, but at the end of the day, they beat us. So it didn't prove to be the winning factor that we needed to win the game with. I still think we should have thrown the ball in that one. So, yeah, he doesn't want to become a pass team. But listen, it's 2023. This is not the days of Maurice Claret and your favorite Jim Tressel and Beanie Wells and all those boys. You're going to have to throw the football. Hell, Kyle McCord is throwing the football, and they're undefeated right now. To give you a comparison, he's throwing the ball with considerably a great running game. We like Ohio State's running game. We don't love it, but we like it. He's throwing the ball, and he's obviously doing very well this year doing that. So if he can be throwing the ball to have his team in a victorious position, I don't know why you don't see that as a trend of what we need to be getting on if we want to see success, especially where we are. Look at Washington. They throw the football. Oregon throws it. Hell, USC throws it. Alabama is struggling to throw it, but they, Texas throws the football. Hell, Oklahoma, all they do is throw RPOs.
Shout out to your boy Malik holding Arch off down there at Texas. Remember, we thought he was going to transfer when Arch committed to Texas. And here he is, man, getting the start this week.
Right, Quinn Ewers hurt, right?
Quinn Ewers hurt his shoulder. It's the weirdest thing. He went down, got tackled on his non-throwing shoulder, and ended up hurting his throwing shoulder. The highlight is really weird. Or the highlight they've been showing where he got hurt.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of time. I think for us, our focus should definitely be on becoming a passing team. Marcus Freeman's ideology, I think, is just a little outdated. You're a young man. Get with the times.
It's hard, but don't you have to be honest about your tools? Left what's in your toolbox?
Yeah,
like, I can want to build whatever. But if I don't have the tools in my toolbox, I have to be honest about what I can build.
Well, that's what Marcus Freeman is out every weekend recruiting and every weekday flying around the country for, is to find these guys that are the tools to build what has to be the updated version of the house. Houses in the 80s didn't have center islands. You see what I'm saying?
You had to have some money.
Center islands in the kitchen
and
now.
Homes were chopped up. They didn't have the open concept. Everybody has to have an open concept now. Left. You're right.
This center islands are widely important.
Right.
When you house shopping, apartment shopping.
Right.
So I think for Marcus Freeman, he wants that traditional, cabinet,
right.
Where
back then, families actually ate dinner together. So there was
you can have a dinner table with a center island.
There was a purpose for a dining room table. You know how it is, dude. You have high boy chairs, at a nice lengthy island. Everybody's eating right there, bro.
That's right. And so
they're eating right there, and people rarely eat. Families rarely eat dinner together now, anyway.
And it's interesting that Marcus Freeman is taking such a old soul approach to being so young and hip and perceived to be cultured. You would think he would fit more into the Lincoln Riley role or the Deion Sanders comparisons to being the young coach on campus, but he's taking an older approach, which I think Notre Dame appreciates. but I think he needs to take more of the aggressive, updated version on his iPhone. You know, you get them updates from Apple. They say you need 14 iOS. And he keeps saying, not now, try again later.
Mm-hmm.
I get it, but the iOS got the different filters and the lenses and the new ways you can work your widgets. You know what I'm saying? But Marcus Freeman needs to see that, you know, Jim Tressel isn't what's winning right now. That's why he's not coaching right now. Jim Tressel couldn't survive in college football today. They wouldn't score enough points. And I think that he's taking it not with a grain of salt. You take your favorites with a grain of salt. The qualities, the intangibles, the things you can't see. I think he's taking it too literal. And once the results those teams had on the field, but that's not where the game is today because these offenses are getting crazy. And you need a trigger man. And Jim Tressel had trigger man, so I'm surprised Marcus Freeman isn't, you know, trying to find that similar thing.
He also, after showing love to Pitt and Narduzzi, and I told you, he mentioned it. I told you I love their defensive backs left. Notre Dame is going to have something with double moves in the offensive package this weekend.
I mean, but our receivers aren't going to be the reason why we win, unfortunately.
But I'm just saying, they are ultra aggressive and sit on routes, especially hitches, out routes. Devonshire, who's an NFL defensive back. I forget the other kid's name, number 3. They are both aggressive and really good. Now, this is, the young guys got more reps during the bye week left, and you talked about Notre Dame needing to identify and develop their future stars starting now. This is what Marcus Freeman had to say about that left.
For the guys that played in the game was a typical Monday. They just played a tough game Saturday night, so we couldn't go out and really get after those guys as much as the 2s and the 3s. We had a lot of good reps, and the same Tuesday and Wednesday, the ones practiced. We had to get after it, but the structure of practice was different because there was a lot of good on good. But the chance for 2s and 3s to get a lot of reps at the end of practice was important, and so that time is so crucial. And you talk about development of the bottom half of your roster and the future of your roster, to be able to see those guys. And we got to watch it as coaches. The coaches watch it, and let's evaluate it and call things that they know how to do. Like, let's give them a chance to show us what they can do. They're not going to be able to show us what they can do if they're confused. And so I don't care if we had 2 defenses called and 3 offensive plays called. I wanted to see what those young guys could do and was pleased.
Left. Seems like he wants to, maybe he listened to you the other day and was like, yo, yeah, I do need to develop my stars. You're on mute.
You just got to look at the signs. And for Marcus Freeman to where he is in this season, championship maybe not be on the horizon, but he's going to need a star if he wants a chance of recruiting moving forward. He needs a chance of a star to blame deflect as bad as it sounds.
Wait, so if I asked you, and the chat, I just want to throw this at the chat too. Right now, the topic you're talking about, how many potential stars do you see for next season? Less than 5 or more than 5?
I see less than 5, but I think there's some that are coming in. Less than 5. I think the 3 stars that we have are Ben Morrison, Xavier Watts, and Jeremiah Love. I think a star is apparent and is shown early on.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like Kevin Stephenson. That was a star.
Man, that dude was so fast.
He was
bro.
a star.
He just couldn't keep it together, man.
Even though he couldn't keep it together, he was a star, and you knew it, though.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't sit there and be like, Tobias Merriweather, oh, he needs some games. Kevin Austin, oh, he needs some opportunities. Kevin Stephenson in his limited action, you were like, that's the number one receiver. Ben Morrison in his limited action, that's a top corner in the country. Limited action.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb Williams, it took him a half to know he was that dude. Now, it's less about lightning striking in the bottle.
It took Trevor Lawrence practices. He didn't play. Matter of fact, he played 2 series against Texas A&M, and Dabo knew, like, all right.
He threw a touchdown on his first series. This is after Kelly Bryant threw his touchdown. So Kelly Bryant thinking like, damn, I throw a touchdown, you taking me out? Yes. The guy we got. He's like that.
That guy Dabo saw 1 series against Texas A&M was like, yeah, I need to see you guys in my office.
We gotta talk. Trevor's just freaking better.
Yeah, he's just better, man.
When is Marcus Freeman gonna have that conversation? Marcus Freeman's in there telling guys, listen, we have to go get better. Imagine that.
Look, I don't know if that conversation is happening right now, but I think it'll take place in the future. Aldridge, you need to go ahead and go to the league.
Yeah, just do us a favor.
Yeah, you
do us a favor.
You can go to the league.
We ain't telling you that you know. Obviously, we would love for you to stay, but go your ass to the league.
You go to the league
because we love you, not because we need you. Because we love you.
We love you.
Go ahead.
Double entendre, if you will.
Yeah, don't make it. Don't make us do you like Emmitt Smith, man, for Dallas Cowboys. We love you. Go ahead and pass on to yonder.
Like, yo, we love you. We gonna miss you, but
we're gonna miss you.
We're gonna be straight though.
Yeah, we're gonna be straight. You did what
we're gonna be straight.
Don't even think that you need to stay to help or win some. Listen, you did it.
Yeah.
Help us out. You help us more not being. If you love us, leave us. You know.
And then the 2 freshmen we got coming in.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you love us for real, you want to help us.
Young and Aeneas Williams.
Take yourself to the league, bro.
Devin Ford is still Jabron Payne.
Because you're making it hard for us. Because we can't count you out. Yeah. But we want to see what these other dudes is about. We got some. Yeah. We recruited good now. It ain't like we need you. We obviously want you, but we don't need you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think if they're going to give a chance to these young players, that Marcus Freeman said he said I was impressed. Is that not what he said?
He said he's impressed.
He said we gave them a shot to show us what they can do. 2 or 3 plays that they can do. I was impressed. So you need to put those 2 or 3 plays into both game plans on both sides of the ball.
That's right.
Ben Morrison, Jeremiah Love, Xavier Watts. Those are the 3 names you said, right? I'm not going to start talking about the incoming freshmen. I don't even want to hype. I'll let them set the tone when they get here in the spring or in January. Jalen Sneed he's in that same boat. The other young linebackers on the inside, Trey Osbury, have a shot. And Boubacar Traore, in my opinion, has a shot. I know you said less than 5. I really think they have more than 5.
Really?
I think they do. I think the job that they've done recruiting in 23 and 24 is this 24 class is not splashy, but in my opinion, it's a class that I'll give you an example, right? Carson Hobbs is probably like the bottom half of this class ranking. Are we really about to doubt Mike Mickens and what he sees from a recruit left?
I don't know how you can ever doubt Mike Mickens.
That's my thing, right? Because people are like, well, man, he's not super fast, his film, he's not flashy. And I asked Notre Dame fans, are we really about to doubt Mike Mickens?
Mike Mickens is gonna be a D coordinator while we're like trying to chastise him.
It's like whatever he looks for and sees. I think Micah Bell is going to end up being, like, we forget Jaden Mickey has been much better this year. Like, we forget some of these players that are still developing, right? Jaden Mickey's going to get his big shot next year, right? Because Cam Hart graduates. And
I think Jaden Mickey would be a good player for us, though.
I'll put it like this, John Massey. If Al Golden is the defensive coordinator, there's no way Kingston is starting as a freshman. It's not happening. Not over a veteran. He might become the number one player during the season. But if Al Golden is defensive coordinator, true freshman is not starting at middle linebacker. Because he puts so much out there, man. He'll come up, he'll talk about him in the spring, he'll talk about how much he trusts him, how great he's doing. And then one of the other kids will end up being the starter.
Yeah. I mean, that makes
and
sense.
I don't look, man. I actually want to change from being that program. I don't want to be that program where the freshman has to come in and start, bro. Freshman linebackers don't come in and just start at Georgia and Alabama.
They did at Miami. When I was there, they had those two freshmen starting.
But like for Kirby will start freshman in the secondary. I don't know. He definitely will play freshman in the secondary. But I mean, that's what he coaches. That's what he plays. So maybe he feels more comfortable being able to teach freshmen in the secondary. But Notre Dame seems to be more comfortable starting freshmen in the secondary and playing them in the secondary. But for some reason, at linebacker, man, that's just not the case. But I think they have more than 5 stars on the roster right now that can be developed, or you can start developing your stars.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
So he was also asked about the passing game left. Oh, listen to this.
Throwing the ball early in the year just because of what our past concepts were, and they didn't have to be play action shots. And, then you come back and you say, okay, we got to be able to run the ball. We didn't run the ball well versus Duke, or, we ran the ball well, I think, versus Ohio State, but versus Duke, we didn't run the ball well. We got to be able to find ways to run the ball. Well, now teams are saying, I dare you to throw the ball. right? And they're truly putting an extra defender in the box. And so, part of that is, okay, now we got to be able to take some shots. We got to be able to look like we're running in a run formation and be able to run some play action shots. And so that will be a challenge for us to continue to evolve that part of our game.
He's using the pass as like the ketchup and mustard to a burger. We want the burger to be the pass game and the ketchup mustard to be the run game. I think that's just what college football is turning to. And defensively, I think he's not, giving enough credit to the ability they've been doing to keep us in games, which is why I think the offensive struggles have been so blatant. But if I was him, I would focus on what defense is doing well and how, in some cases they have to provide the offense a more of a chance to be in better position. So, if we're just playing coach speak, I think that's the way he should go.
All right. I'm trying to say this without, because I'm not trying to be argumentative, because it makes it seem like I'm being demeaning towards Kingston, which I'm not. Because the assessment, talent-wise, that Mike Goolsby has had, especially after watching him on ESPN a couple of times, as the leader of that defense out there in California, what they did to modern day was absolutely bananas. But I watched practice all spring. The two freshman linebackers were the two most instinctive linebackers all spring in practice, and they still haven't gotten run. So it really doesn't matter how good Kingston is, bro. It just doesn't. Like, there is something that Al Golden has in place. He says the middle linebacker and my strong safety have to be my best communicators. It is impossible for Kingston to be his best communicator coming in as a true freshman. I didn't say it's impossible for him to be his best player at the position. It's impossible to be his best communicator. Yeah, it just is. And that's just what Al Golden has set up. All right? Like, I'm telling you, I watched practices. The two best instinctive linebackers were the freshmen. And it wasn't even a debate. But the value of the veteran guys in Al Golden's defense is viewed as more important than those instincts, right? We heard 3-4 weeks ago from Al Golden that he trusts Drake Bourne and how great Drake Bourne has been in practice, right? So in my opinion, you're going to hear the same thing about Kingston his freshman year. I don't know. Malik, you've coached against him. You've watched him out there in California. There was a comparison in the chat that he is a day one like Jalen Smith. I don't know if I agree with that. Jalen Smith was a top 10, top 10, 5-star.
Top 5.
Yeah, like I'm not going to speak to that. You're a coach. You coach against them. You evaluate. You know what I'm saying? Mike Goolsby played the position. So I dare not try to put my evaluation in the same breath as either of you. I just know what Al Golden values, and I know how he's going to operate, and he's going to entreat Kingston. He's not going to treat him any different. than the other really good linebackers he has. Good young linebackers he has.
Yeah.
Like Nolan Ziegler is, like there are some really athletic, good linebackers in the linebacker room. Like
That's right.
when Kaiser and JD leave, the athleticism goes up in the room and the instincts, in my opinion. So it's man, and I don't like it. I don't like it. I understand it makes Al Golden comfortable to have those guys out there so he can make the calls that he wants to make.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel like if you have better players, man, you just simplify it.
Until they catch up, right?
That's it, man. But I can't sit here and complain about Al Golden's defense. Right? I should probably say somebody could possibly be in DJ Brown's position left athletically. DJ Brown has had a solid season, man.
No, yeah, DJ Brown's had a solid season. I mean, it hasn't been the most perfect, but he was never the first round pick of the draft. So I think he's contributed to the success we've had and to a defense that's top 6. And I think that's the beautiful part about our defense is that there's not a necessarily award-winning player, preseason All-American that's on the team, but as a unit, similar to what a Utah does, we play well enough to be ranked really high within the efficiency of defense going into the league.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, he was asked a very interesting question. He was like, you talking about giving the 2s and 3s a chance, but, during this same time and same break and bye week, Jacob Lacey transferred to Oklahoma last year. And there were some other transfers. So, while you're sitting up here giving the 2s and 3s run, what about that other side? Kids are on track to graduate and are looking for playing time elsewhere.
It's every week, right? And you don't save those for a bye week. To me, I've always challenged our coaches to continuously have a relationship with the guys in your room so you know and they know exactly where they stand and why they stand there, right? And I think it's important. You don't wait until bye week to have that conversation. So I take a lot of pride in making sure all of our players understand where they're at, why they're at in that position, and having that dialogue with their position coach. So again, you're talking. We're going on to week 9. So guys like that want a chance to redshirt, that chance is probably already over. In terms of playing more than 4 games. So, but again, I think we have to have those conversations every week, right? And it's so important that our kids understand exactly what we're thinking. Here's where I think you need to improve. And we have to have that open dialogue. There is no blind obedience anymore. There's honest conversations that aren't always pleasant to have, but they must happen so our kids understand why they're in the position they're in.
Now, we can't sit here and say what conversations have been had. Can I tell you a conversation I think that is taking place?
Okay.
I need all you guys to come into the office. Gino, I need all my quarterbacks in the office. Next year, we're going to have a lot of talent on this offense. Some might be freshmen. Some are going to be sophomores. Mixed in with a few veterans. We should be far more explosive next year as an offense. Now, we got a really good quarterback coming in. Kenny, you've been looking real good, boy. You lit the defense up in preparation during that USC week.
That's right.
Looking real good, boy. I like, hey, and then during the bye week when the 2s and 3s went against each other, hey, I like what I see. We still might go to the portal if the right guy's in there. So, Steve, I don't know.
Steve's in an interesting place. I'm surprised Marcus Freeman didn't have that talk with him while he was having with Drew and Tyler Buckner. Like, look, all three of y'all gotta go.
No, wait, not all three. Not you didn't go Birdman.
All of y'all got to go.
Not all three of y'all. But, you know, and I'm not saying that's a conversation that's taking place, but I mean, that's a conversation that I think we're talking about somebody. Steve Angeli should definitely thinking about, yo, next year I need to be starting somewhere. I need to be the starting quarterback somewhere.
Yeah, if I'm Steve, I'm pushing the gas on being a starter somewhere. Notre Dame just seems to be a little out of reach due to the fact that, you know, we're in a position where we're trying to figure out what's getting us over the hump. And nowadays, if you're not making that impact on arrival or as a transfer or as a redshirt sophomore, you just aren't making the cut right away that is going to be visible for a coach to be like, yeah, we need this kid to win games. So that's what's going to have me interested in seeing what's important to Steve. Because as a player, the most important thing is getting on the field. And if you waited all this time, you sucked up to Sam all season, all off season, trying to get cool with him. If you're not burning at the fingertips to play next year, what is really the trajectory you're looking for? Because we've seen guys like JT Daniels play team roulette till he found a place to go. We've seen Phil Jakovic. He said, I'm not taking this non-playing stuff. I'm going to go to a school that's going to find me a place to play. So for Steve, it's important for you to know what you want because it helps Notre Dame. You help the team by knowing what direction you want to head in. Obviously, they don't want to openly kick you out, but if you're not going to provide what we need, it makes sense to have the Drew Pine route and just find somewhere you get some time. Hell, you'll graduate. You got your degree, what you come for, but don't hold us hostage in thinking that, you know, you're going to pop on the scene 3-4 years later when we need an answer right now. And the problem is we just need an answer right now. If you just not an answer right now, it's hard to just see
right, because the two quarterbacks last year, one chose to leave before the bowl game and one chose to stay. And even though he eventually transferred in the spring, you know, they chose to handle it two different ways. You know, and like you said, Marcus Freeman said we've been having those conversations week to week. I'm like, yo, that's real. That's real. And the only room that really doesn't have a lot of transfer out is the tight end room in Notre Dame. Like the tight end room in Notre Dame, you're gonna play. I think 6 tight ends have played this year, including the freshmen. So, you know, other positions, You know, you might see a few cornerbacks transfer, linebackers. I mean, you know, you have guys like Chris Tyree that might come back for another year. So it's a lot going on. It's a lot going on. Looky Lefty podcast. Hey, Left, what is the game that bothers you the most?
The game that bothers me the most already passed with Ohio State, just because I knew that was a determining factor in our season for how we're going to be judged, more so than what it's going to do to our season. And the perception that it comes from that Ohio State loss is a heavy weight for what we're trying to accomplish as a team. And I think for Marcus Freeman, he knows that was the most important game of the season, and not having that just puts a hole in the season for what we'll finish strong for, and also just what the season meant going into year 2.
Yeah, I am. I talk to you way too much because I'm not worried about the Clemson game. Once they took the Clemson game from being prime time and made it a day afternoon game, I was like, oh, that's good. And that Clemson team, a refreshed Notre Dame team, I think will be very prepared walking into Clemson. But that darn last game on the West Coast is always something against Stanford. Left. It is. I don't care how terrible Stanford is, bro. Like, the games always seem quirky. Penalties, turnovers, being out on the West Coast. Dude, they're gonna win the game. I just worry about silly stuff happening, like injuries and all that. The vibe around that game, I'm literally just like, man, just please let us come out of this game healthy. I know we're gonna win, man, but just let us come out of this game healthy. Lucky Lefty podcast. Great show today. We talked about everything. Jim Harbaugh, the impact, you know, Notre Dame, and how you win. Someone asked the question, Left, what is the right way to win now in college football?
The right way to win is just being able to identify what you are chasing and the type of person you are. If you're the type of person that lives by any means necessary, then going to the edge of the rules isn't out of line or out of bounds for what you're willing to do to get a championship. And that's kind of where college football is. If you're thinking from a competitive standpoint, what it takes to win, it's just the all-out effort that is given by guys that sacrifice a lot day in and day out. So when it comes to that, I know guys are going to the extremes of figuring out the littlest competitive advantages, because that's where the game of football and high stakes have pushed it. It's the same as the Heisman. There's no real way to judge the Heisman anymore because it's been built off of the most hype guy through the media that's undefeated as a football team. But these teams are evened out because these schedules got them week to week going against, behemoths. And it's hard to be undefeated just as a probability mathematical equation, just because the talent is all over the place these days, like basketball. Yeah. And so the days of it being the Alabama and Georgia's just go undefeated all season, I think is coming to an end. Transfer portal is evening the game out, so it's going to require coaches to be coaches. But this NIL and money situation is convoluted the situation where, anybody can strike when the iron's hot in college football. That's where the game has gone to.
You already know what time it is, Left.
Petticoat, petticoat, petticoat junction.
It's time to get petty.
Oh, we did a good job executing.
Are you upset with something?
And fire up the Petticoat Junction train.
I just don't like you. You don't? No.
What is today's petty historic? Petty Junction.
Petty Junction, pettiest story of the day, brought to you by ONORA Whiskey, ONORAWhiskey.com, that premium American whiskey, ONORAWhiskey.com. Man, Left, what's your game this week?
Ohio versus Miami of Ohio. I actually got Coach Chuck Martin.
You going back to the crib?
Back to the crib. Well, not the crib. I'm in Northern
Yeah.
Ohio, but Coach Chuck Martin, man, I love Coach Martin. I committed to him on my way of getting to Notre Dame. And, he's exciting to see how his commitment to a MAC school, when I felt like he could have went bigger. Yeah. He's been there for 10 plus years and has the Miami at a stable place. And it's going to be a good game, the best versus the best in the MAC this weekend. And I'm glad I get to call it.
And I'm sure he's going to be extra excited to see you, bro, doing your thing in on the call in the booth at CBS Sports Network. Dwight Howard, I got to put you on the petty train, bro.
That's it.
Bruh, hey, man.
Why are dudes so crazy with money? You get money and start doing unusual things.
My brother, it really was no secret around the league. I have no problem with the way you live your life. 7 feet, dog. You got people hitting you up with lawsuits now, trying to say you taking it with Uber receipts and all type of stuff.
Yo, this situation is so crazy because
luring them to your crib.
But
you got somebody else dressed up answering the door. Man, hey. And then your lawyers.
See, this is why it's important to get you a black woman in your life, because black women in your life will set you straight. There's no way a black woman would allow you to be this promiscuous and crazy. What's
Basically,
going on with you, Dwight?
So what you trying to say? Where's his mom at right now?
Where's his mom at? Where's his home training? Like, you done got so much money, you started acting different.
Man, look.
You got to entrust yourself.
Jalen Johnson, defensive back for the Chicago Bears, went on sports radio today. And I put the host of the show on the petty train because they were trying to be messy. Because they approached the question like this. Like, man, Tyson Bagent, this many yards, touchdowns, no interceptions, Bears win. How are we supposed to take this, Jalen? How are we supposed to take this? Do we have a controversy here? And Jalen Johnson said, man, y'all tripping. I know old boy did what he did, but we ran the ball really well and covered for him as a rookie quarterback to make sure that he could execute the game plan. And the defense played well. We held the ball 2/3 of the game. So, man, I think we need to relax. Like, everybody on this team know that Justin is the starter. I said, look at this. I said, boy, when the media tries to set you up and you set them straight, I said, good for Jalen Johnson. Jalen Johnson told him, we're not doing this. I don't care if he did win the game. Y'all not about to do that to my dog, number one. And they shut up because they wanted to hear something different. They tried to set him up, Left. Because that's the narrative they wanted to carry.
But the Bears don't got Justin Fields back.
No, they don't. But it was really good hearing Jalen Johnson.
It's not really good when he don't make no decisions.
Jalen Johnson said, man, we ain't doing that. We're not about to act like Tyson Bagent is like a franchise quarterback. we babied him through that game. Like, relax. He didn't do all of that. Usually guys are, they want to be, politically correct in those situations. Left, he chose to be honest, and I appreciate it. Lucky Lefty podcast. Don't forget, CFB Nation, presented by Twisted Tea, and Apple Podcasts, Spotify, audio edibles every day. Hit that like button, subscribe, man. Lucky Lefty podcast. We spin it different. But Left, we should be back on at 11 tomorrow, right, Left?
That's right.
We're back on our regular schedule tomorrow. See you guys. Have a great evening. Make sure you spin it different. Say?
We got a Petty Train.
I just did the Petty Train.
Did I miss the music?
Yeah, I played the entire open and everything. Damn. Now I have to put you on the Petty Train, bro. Hey, Left got a lot going on, bro. Real estate, calling games. He took a break from coaching. He probably
took a break from coaching, man. Listen, I love coaching, but that's a lifestyle that you have to commit 100% to. You're
still pulling for your kids, though. I know, especially your young quarterback, bro.
The young quarterback, he's gonna be right.
I know it was hard to leave him.
That's right.
Make sure we'll see you tomorrow. Make sure you spin it different.